The day my ex-wife stood on my porch, she looked me straight in the eyes and quietly said, "I never wanted to come back." Those 7 words should have been the end of the story. Instead, they became the beginning of the greatest lesson about forgiveness, family, and second chances that I never saw coming. I had spent 4 years teaching myself how to live without her, convincing myself that some broken things could never be repaired. But life has a strange way of bringing people back when your heart has finally stopped expecting it. Before we continue, if you believe kindness is never wasted, hope can survive the darkest seasons. Forgiveness is stronger than pride, and everyone deserves a second chance. Please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us keep sharing stories that remind us there is still goodness in this world. My name is Nathan, and I live in a quiet neighborhood outside Franklin, Tennessee. After my divorce from my wife, Rachel, I buried myself in work restoring old furniture. Every scratch I sanded away and every broken table I rebuilt felt easier than repairing the memories inside my own heart. Our marriage hadn't ended because of betrayal or hatred. It had simply collapsed beneath years of grief after losing both of her parents within 18 months. We stopped talking, we stopped listening. Eventually, we stopped believing we could heal together. The divorce papers were signed peacefully, but peace and happiness are very different things. Rachel moved across the country to Oregon, while I stayed in the house we had once dreamed of filling with laughter and children. The rooms became painfully quiet. I learned how silence could echo louder than any argument. Then one rainy Thursday afternoon, she appeared on my porch carrying only a small suitcase and wearing an exhausted expression that made her seem years older. She explained that her company had closed unexpectedly, her apartment lease had ended, and she needed a temporary place while she figured out her future. She insisted she wasn't trying to restart our relationship. She only needed somewhere safe for a couple of weeks. Against every warning in my mind, I opened the door. The first few days felt awkward beyond words. We treated each other like polite strangers, sharing a hotel instead of 2 people who had once planned an entire lifetime together. She stayed in the guest room. We rarely ate at the same time. Even simple conversations about groceries or the weather felt careful, as though one wrong sentence might reopen old wounds. But life has a way of softening walls when people simply exist beside each other. Rachel noticed my aching shoulder after long hours in the workshop and quietly left an ice pack outside the door. I repaired the loose handle on her suitcase without mentioning it. We began sharing morning coffee on the back porch, watching birds gather around the feeder we had installed years earlier. No grand speeches, no dramatic confessions, just tiny moments that slowly reminded us of the people we used to be. 3 weeks passed faster than either of us expected. One Saturday morning, I noticed her browsing online job listings in Tennessee, instead of searching for flights back west. She volunteered at the local church pantry twice a week while waiting for interviews, and the elderly volunteers adored her gentle spirit. My neighbors, who had quietly witnessed our painful divorce years earlier, smiled every time they saw us working together in the garden again. Nothing about our relationship had been officially repaired, but something inside both of us had begun healing. Then an opportunity arrived that neither of us anticipated. Rachel was offered a position managing community outreach for a nonprofit organization only 15 minutes from my home. It was meaningful work, exactly the kind she had always dreamed about. I congratulated her sincerely, even though accepting it meant she would remain nearby long after her temporary stay was supposed to end. That evening, as we sat watching the sunset paint the Tennessee sky in shades of gold and crimson, she admitted something that completely changed how I understood the past. She confessed that when she left years earlier, she hadn't been running away from me. She had been running away from every reminder of her own grief because she believed staying would only continue hurting us both. Distance hadn't healed her. It had only taught her that loneliness follows you wherever you go. The next morning, I gently asked when she planned to move into her own apartment. She smiled through tears and quietly admitted she didn't want to leave, not because she expected everything to magically become perfect, but because for the first time in years, our home finally felt peaceful instead of painful. Neither of us rushed into promises. We agreed to begin again as friends who were willing to rebuild trust one ordinary day at a time. Months later, we renewed our wedding vows in the small church where we had first met. There were no extravagant decorations or expensive celebrations. Just family, neighbors, close friends, and grateful hearts. Our marriage wasn't stronger because we had avoided hardship. It was stronger because we had finally learned that love isn't the absence of brokenness. Love is choosing to rebuild together after life leaves cracks behind. If this story has touched your heart, please take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who still believes healing is impossible. Your support allows more inspiring stories like this to reach people who need hope the most. Before this story ends, we'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment and tell us, do you believe people can truly find their way back to each other after life pulls them apart? Or do some goodbyes exist for a reason? As Rachel and I locked our front door one quiet evening, I realized something beautiful. The woman who once said she never wanted to come back had never been searching for the past. She had been searching for peace, and together, with patience, faith, forgiveness, and countless small acts of kindness, we finally found it waiting right where our story had first begun.